Greetings dear learners, this is Faculty of Social Studies at SRN International School, Jagatpura, Jaipur. I welcome you all to the Knowledge Center of SRN International School. This video is about a very important topic of social studies of class 10th, that is nationalism in India. Especially this video is the part 2 of this topic. We are starting with the cutting of the Chinese watermelon. The imperial European nations acquired various commercial concessions from China. The economic dominations of China by these nations can be seen as follows. England controlled the business and excise of China. France had the Chinese postal service under its authority. Third, Chinese railways were dominated by Europe. China was divided under the sector or power sectors of the imperial nations. This has been known as the cutting of the Chinese melon. America had an understanding that, like the African continent, China would be divided. The French began their trade in India from the year 1625 AD. However, the French dominated Chandranagar, Pondicherry, Karaikal, Yenam and Mahi. The open door policy. America came out with its open door policy in 1899 with the intentions of avoiding the actual political division of China and taking financial advantage. This policy consisted in equal rights for all nations to trade in China. All the imperial nations had given green signal to the American decision. However, Russia refused to comply with America and China remained undivided. But in the following years, the imperial nations exploited China to a large extent. The First Opium War. The British merchants used to sell the opium got from India in China. The Chinese government, however, was against this business. But the European traders continued smuggling opium into China. The Chinese people would buy opium by exchanging silver, causing a stream of silver export to England. The defeat of China, compelling the Manchu Empire signing a treaty with England. It was called the Nanking Treaty, which was signed in 1842. According to the treaty, England was given the control of 4 ports along with Canton Port. England won the Hong Kong island. Taking advantage of this development in the following 10 years, America, France, Belgium, Holland and Portugal and Russia sought commercial concessions from China. The Second Opium War. In the year 1856, England and France has a war against China. This was called Second Opium War. This war came to an end with the defeat of Manchu Emperor and the Peking Treaty. By this treaty, another group of Chinese ports were opened for the foreign traders. The business of opium was given permission. The foreign envoys were allowed to stay in Peking. The Christian missionaries were now given security and freedom of spreading their religion. Russia attacked China in 1860 and won the Amur Sea coast of China. The fact was that the European nations had divided the vast region of China. Japan too defeated China by waging a war on it in 1894-95. Japan had a part of Chinese regions under its command. The Dutch. The Portuguese were followed by the Dutch in India. The Dutch too were interested in business. Thus, all they could do was to establish their control over the Southeast Asian island only. The Kanagawa Treaty I. Considering the extent and strength of Perry's navy, then the Japanese Prime Minister Tokugawa shogun signed a business agreement with America on 31st March 1854 at Kanagawa. According to this agreement, first America was allowed to entry to the Shimonda and Hakodate ports for procuring wood, coal and water. Second, American envoy could stay in Japan. Third, the sailors in distress should be given Japanese assistance. Fourth, America was allowed to do business in Japan by the local rules and regulations. In this way, the non-aligned status of Japan came to an end. The decline of Tokugawa shogun began. England, France, Russia, Holland desired to acquire business concessions in Japan like America. Accordingly, Japan made agreements with these nations and granted business concessions. On the basis of the granted concessions, the imperial nations prepared themselves to exploit Japan. The imperialist nations went on to have trade concessions from Japan by virtue of modern power. Japan was thus made to realize its weaknesses and change its policy towards these nations. It was during this period that the unrestrained shogun governance was subverted by the Meiji Revolution. Japan modernized itself by drastically changing the economic, political and social fields. Seeking motivation from the scientific and artistic development with which the European nations had defeated. After modernizing itself, Japan endeared the policy of imperial expansion. On the one hand, it made an announcement that Asia was for the people of Asia and Japan for the Japanese. And on the other, with a view to imperial expansion, it defeated the powerful nations like China and Russia and annexed regions belonging to China. I hope you have understood everything that I've shared here today. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please like, comment and share the video.